We turn now to new worries about the economy, growing consumer concerns fueled by inflation and President Trump's sweeping tariffs. Now, U.S. consumer confidence falling for the fourth straight month in March, hitting its lowest level in years.
Here now to break it all down for us is ABC business reporter Alexis Christoforous. We are always so grateful for you. I mean, I'm asking this question, why are consumers feeling so down about the economy? But I feel like I know why.
Pick the ways, right? I mean, there's so much to digest. It's coming at us fast. We've got tariffs, really since the beginning of the year, talk of tariffs. What is that going to mean for inflation? What will that mean for prices? We've all been paying higher prices for just about everything for years now, really since the pandemic. We've had dramatic stock market sell-offs, now talk of a possible recession. So it's chipping away at consumer confidence, which is down in March, fourth straight month, lowest level in about 4 years. But here's the really troubling part. The way we're thinking about the future, our future finances, we're not as optimistic. And confidence there is at a 12-year low.
So with that said, what does the drop in confidence mean for the health of our economy?
You know, it's interesting because we haven't seen a correlation yet between that drop in confidence and a pullback in spending. Retail sales were actually up last month. It was modest, but they were up nonetheless. What we're seeing is a change in consumer buying habits. Lots of retailers, Walmart, Costco, Target, saying we're now seeing people buying those private label store brands as opposed to name brands. They're choosing cheaper alternatives like chicken or pork instead of beef. Even the airlines are now saying domestic travel starting to pull back. Businesses are also starting to send out people less and less. Look, at the end of the day, consumer spending is the driver of our economy. It accounts for 70% of economic activity. Even if you have a job, if you feel you might not in the months to come, maybe you don't take that vacation, you don't buy a home. I do have to say, though, sales of cars actually higher right now because people are trying to get ahead of the tariffs that might happen, which would, force those prices higher.
Let's talk about those tariffs because President Trump has promised another round of tariffs on April 2nd. We're about a week out from that. Where do we stand there?
So the conversation on tariffs has actually changed this past week from the president. He's now saying those very targeted tariffs for certain industries are not going to happen April 2nd. So no tariffs on autos, pharmaceuticals, semiconductors. Those are the chips that go in laptops and iPhones. That will happen at some point. He's not saying when, but those reciprocal tariffs on what the White House is calling the Dirty 15. They've located 15 countries they say are charging us more in tariffs for our goods than we do them. He said we're going to hit back, level the playing field there. I think if talk starts to move from tariffs to tax cuts, something else the president promised on the campaign trail, we might see a pretty quick bounce back in consumer confidence.
All right, so what should we do if we're feeling stressed about money?
So if you're feeling stressed about money, I do what I do, which is I try to manage it. I try to make it smaller and manageable. And by that, I mean start to pay off debt. I don't care if it's the credit card with the biggest balance or the smallest balance. Set a goal and try to chip away at that debt. We always talk about building an emergency fund. If you have 3 or 6 months worth of living expenses set aside, that should be a sort of a cushion and a de-stressor for you. Review your budget. First, you have to have a budget, so make sure you've got one. Review it, track your spending because you need to make sure that more is not going out each month than is coming in. That's simple math, right? And then finally, have family meetings about money. Talking about money is still so taboo.
It's a tough conversation.
It is a tough conversation, but you need to get the family around the table and talk about it.
Good to know. I'm just going to eat gummy bears through this whole situation.
That also works with de-stressing.
Alexis Christoforous, thank you so much for being here.